"My dad's not here but I'm sure as hell here," Meghan McCain responds to Trump's continued attacks on late Senator John McCain. Meghan McCain hit out at President Trump for his latest criticism of her father on The View on Wednesday. "If I had told my dad, 7 months after you're dead, you're going to be dominating the news and all over Twitter, he would think it was so hilarious that our president was so jealous of him that he was dominating the news cycle in death," Meghan said about her father, the late Senator John McCain. Then she tried to turn the tables by bringing up cyberbullying, a top issue of First Lady Melania Trump. "Do not feel bad for me and my family," she said. "We are a family of privilege. Feel bad for people out there who are being bullied that don't have support." She continued, "There are kids committing suicide because of cyberbullying online. There are people going through rough times. We have 20 veterans a day committing suicide. Focus on these issues," she said. Meghan concluded, "I'm just surprised because I do think this is a new bizarre low. I will say attacking someone who isn't here is a bizarre low, but my dad's not here but I'm sure as hell here." Meghan was reacting to Trump's latest attack on her father, who died last summer from brain cancer. The president said that the McCain family wasn't grateful enough to him for approving state funeral arrangements for the late senator. McCain's funeral was held in the National Cathedral and included ceremonial honors, though Trump didn't attend at McCain's request. He also took shots at McCain's support for US. "I endorsed him at his request and I gave him the kind of funeral that he wanted, which as president I had to approve," Trump said. "I don't care about this, I didn't get a thank you. We sent him on the way. But I wasn't a fan of John McCain." The president also suggested on Wednesday that the Vietnam War hero should have come to him after he was first handed a copy of the Golden Showers dossier. This time, he returned to the topic of the dossier, which contains salacious and unverified claims about Trump's stay in a Moscow hotel room as well as claims of Russian influence over Trump's circle. John McCain received a fake and phony dossier. "Did you hear about the dossier? It was paid for by crooked Hillary Clinton, right?" Trump said at an event in Ohio, drawing boos at the mention of his Democratic rival, who had a law firm fund opposition research after a conservative group first funded the research that became the dossier. And John McCain got it. And what did he do? He didn't call me. He turned it over to the FBI hoping to put me in jeopardy. And that's not the nicest thing to do, Trump said. Fox News reported based on filings that McCain associate turned over the dossier to the FBI, along with media outlets, after the campaign. Referencing the Iraq War, Trump said, "We're in a war in the Middle East that McCain pushed so hard. He was calling Bush, President Bush, all the time. Get into the Middle East. Get into the Middle East." "So now we're into that war for $7 trillion, Trump said. "Thousands and thousands of our people have been killed. Millions of people overall. So John McCain loved it." Then Trump concluded, at an event meant to highlight job gains in Ohio and throughout the nation, "We're all set." I don't think I have to answer that question, But the press keeps. What do you think of McCain? What do you think? Not my kind of guy. But some people like him, and I think that's great. McCain associate and former State Department official David Carmer testified in a court case that McCain gave the first pages of the dossier to former FBI Director James Comey on December 9, 2018. The president's latest comments came after Trump's weekend attacks on the longtime senator who was held captive for 5.5 years in a Hanoi POW camp during the war. In recent days, the controversy has drawn in McCain family members, the Senate leaders from both parties, and other lawmakers who knew McCain. Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer said he will reintroduce legislation to name a Senate office building after McCain following Trump's comments that he is not a fan of the Vietnam War hero. Schumer first raised the issue after McCain's death in August. He brought it up again after Trump blasted McCain on Twitter over the weekend, then doubled down when asked about McCain in the Oval Office Tuesday. "I was never a fan of John McCain, and I never will be," Trump told reporters Tuesday. Trump's continued public animosity has pushed several GOP senators to weigh in with their own views. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell came out with a tweet calling his good friend and former colleague a hero but did not directly call out Trump for his comments. "Today and every day I miss my good friend John McCain. It was a blessing to serve alongside a rare patriotic and genuine American hero in the Senate. His memory continues to remind me every day that our nation is sustained by the sacrifices of heroes," said McConnell. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, who was McCain's best friend in the Senate and something of a protege, has been put on the spot by the situation. A former fierce Trump critic, Graham now backs Trump on a series of issues and has provided critical cover on the subject of the Russia probe. "A lot of people, who are coming to John's defense now, are the same people that called him crazy and a warmonger, so it's kind of interesting to see the politics of how this dispute's being used to bash Trump by people who were against both Trump and McCain," said Graham in his home state, NBC reported. Schumer shortly after McCain's death announced a plan to rename the Senate Russell Office Building after his former colleague, who had a reputation for working with members of both parties, as well as occasionally blowing up at rivals. "I look forward to soon reintroducing my legislation renaming the Senate Russell Building after American hero, Senator John McCain," Schumer tweeted Wednesday. His prior resolution was co-sponsored by Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, a Republican who was a regular Trump target. The building's naming after Senator Richard Russell has become controversial due to the Georgia Democrats' support for segregation and opposition to civil rights legislation. Trump attacked the late senator twice this weekend on Twitter, focusing on McCain's ties to the infamous Steele dossier that contains the unverified allegations the Russians have blackmailed material on the president. "So it was indeed just proven in court papers, last in his class, Annapolis, John McCain that sent the fake dossier to the FBI and media hoping to have it printed before the election. He and the teams, working together, failed, as usual. Even the fake news refused this garbage," the president wrote on Sunday. McCain was actually fifth from the bottom of his class at the Naval Academy, and regularly joked about his own academic performance.